Well, I just got to accept we're a grinder team. Every time we got a big lead, 9 points, 12 points, we just found a way to make us uncomfortable. But give us credit. We grind it out. And I guess we're not going to be pretty, but pretty doesn't get you any wins anyway. Before I go into anything, I got to tell you that, I do a lot of work to try to somewhat control the zone. And if there's things not being said, I, email them, I talk to them, I catch hell both ways if too much is being said, if not enough's being said. But I got to be honest with you. I was kind of getting upset at the chance of dockage until I got in the locker room and I asked, what was that all about? And somebody read me his tweets, the social media. And if I would have known that before the game, I would have embarrassed myself almost as much as he embarrassed himself, and I would have led the chance. Because calling us whiners and that is kind of unprofessional. Classy broadcasters like George Blah and everybody else wouldn't even think to do something like that on TV. But saying our students couldn't get in there, and he's doing games for Michigan when his son's there, that is a disappointment, and that is ridiculous. And I think it's funny because I got no respect for him for that. And I'm going to publicly say it. You can tweet it, you can read it, you can do whatever you want with it. But Twitter got him in trouble, and he earned it. And I'm surprised ESPN would let somebody say something like that. That works for him. So that's off my chest now. Another one for Twitter. Another one for Twitter. But Danny owes our fans and our students an apology. And I probably won't get it. But, I've always gotten along with Dan. But as you know, seems like this year a lot of people have been mad at me. But I would have loved to get in that zone and join those chants if I was on Twitter. Thank God I'm not. Thank God some of my friends are. So there's the commercial today, and now we'll get back to the game. I thought we played very, very good basketball at times. I'm a little disappointed in you guys on that because you're all just looking like that was okay. You think that was okay? Huh? God bless you, except I don't tweet or I'd say it. But I'll say it publicly. That way everybody knows who's saying it. But I thought at times we played really good basketball. I'm telling you, that is a good basketball team. They've got veterans, talented guys that are hard to guard. We struggled with the dribble penetration in that first half. We had a couple guys that just couldn't guard anybody. And I thought Miles had a very average game, and I told him it after the game. What I really liked, though, is when he gave up 5 points in a row, it was the first time in a while that, it was a gut check for him. And like great players do, he rose to the occasion. And I think that'll be the best thing I got out of tonight, Elvin Ellis stepped up. Nick Ward did a pretty good job. We covered the ball screens better. We just didn't have some guys that defended as well as we needed to. But when you ask me about our substitutions and why this team turns it over, hey, we're going to keep trying to improve on it. We had 5 the first half and 11 the second. But we're a grinder team, guys. And you know what? I'm proud of my guys for being that way. It's a blue-collar team. I don't mind people calling me a blue-collar coach or blue-collar team. So all in all, I think we beat a good team. There is pressure on these guys. Everybody knows I already unleashed the white elephant in the room. I already talked about it. But I was proud of my guys tonight for hanging in there, and we've been practicing better. We've been playing better. It's those stretches, up 12, up 1, up 9, down 1. And I think I've done a poor job of using my timeouts. I know in the NBA, somebody goes on maybe a 6-point run and there's automatically a timeout. But those guys have 20 of them. When they cut our extra timeout, it really makes it hard for me to do that, and I think I've done a poor job of that. So I'm going to have to really evaluate my own ability to stop runs like that. So, questions, love to answer them.
Tom, I'd like to ask you about Elvin real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously stepped up, made the 6 3-pointers. That's a guy that could have quit a long time ago and hasn't, and stuck with it. And you've stuck with him. Would you talk about tonight, please?
Well, it's funny because I started my pregame speech out with, when I got in this morning and did some work, and I walked into our video room and I heard the ball bounce. I looked down and there's Elvin Ellis shooting with one of my GAs, and that's how I started out my speech, because that didn't happen a lot in the last 3 years. And I don't know. Like I said, I think and everything tonight is about you get what you deserve. And Danny will get what he deserves, and Elvin got what he deserves. So it's America's a great country.
Tom, after the Iowa game, I remember you saying maybe it was bad coaching on your part by playing Miles for 37 minutes tonight. It looked like maybe early in the second half, maybe you got a little bit of fatigue. Two-part question here. Just your managing his minutes, and then is Nick Ward getting to a point where you kind of know what you're going to get from Nick, as opposed to maybe hoping you're going to get it or waiting for it?
Yeah, I have. First of all, on Miles, Dwayne Stevens did a great job. He deserves the credit. I told him we got to get him out before timeouts. We got to sit him a minute. We got to do this and that. 31 minutes, maybe that's a little low. If we can use those timeouts better, I think we can get him to 34 and yet get him more rest. But DJ did a hell of a job, deserves the credit on that. And on Nick Ward, as all of you know, I enjoy the fracas that goes on in games or practices or at halftime. And Nick's been Nick's at times, but this last 2 weeks, or a week and a half, he's really taken a big step up. I'm afraid to give him too much credit, but I really do. I mean, I am knowing what I'm getting. He's got to learn to kick it out a little bit better, but he's posting up deeper, harder. He's doing a better job on the ball screens. Just a lot more focused. I give him, Elvin was great and Miles was great. But other than a couple plays, Nick did some things that would have helped us win 2 or 3 games, including going 5 for 6 from the free throw line. I mean, that's pretty good. So give DJ credit on that too. So maybe DJ should coach the team. He did a hell of a job with him on the free throw shooting too.
Coach, you talk about the ebbs and flows. I want to focus on the start, though, and Elvin was a big part of that, but it wasn't just him. It seems like you guys came out determined to throw the first punch, do it early and often, attacking the basket. Was that a mindset coming in overall, specifically according to how you wanted to attack Ohio State? Where did that come from?
Well, we've been talking about it in practice. How are we going to bring these practices? I told you before the Michigan game, I thought we had 3 good practices. After this game, we had a bunch of good practices, and we're going longer. People wonder why we're playing more people. We're going 2.5 hours, which this time of year is really weird. But there's so much teaching to be done. There's so many young guys. It's just the way I have to do it. And to be able to practice like that good at this time of year, I think speaks volumes for the guys. And so I told them, I apologized to them. I said, this is what we got to do, and we're going to do it. And they're jumping in. And I thought we did come out. My whole battle cry is, can we take the practice to the game? Can we take the practice to the game? And I thought we did that. With all those punches, we still have our moments when all of a sudden we just didn't guard anybody for that one stretch. And that's odd. I don't know what they ended up shooting, 41%. They were down in the 30s quite a bit of the time. So, we did a decent job on that. But, we wanted to get off to a good start, especially with our home crowd. I thought they were great. And guys were great. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, that's a good basketball team. And sometimes we had those 4 freshmen out there, and they had some veterans, and it just it's different to look at it from the bench because sometimes it looks like boys against men, except for Miles.
Obviously, Alvin had the big day, but you had a couple other role players with big moments. Kyle Arns shoots that 3 with confidence. Joshua Langford with the putback dunk. Those were big plays that kind of kept spurts going or in big moments. your role players, some of those younger guys, how essential is it that they continue to play with confidence like that? And where, do you feel those guys are in a different place than they've been?
Well, I've been telling you guys about Josh Langford forever. He's got a sweep and go baseline. First play of the game, sweeps and goes baseline. Last game he did that, and the offensive rebound. And I said he'd be a Charlie Bell, a Jason Richardson, whatever, Gary Harris, all the guys that did such a good job at that position. And I spent a lot of time talking to him about it in the last 3 weeks, and he's starting to, I can see him starting to come on it. He's starting to do a better job. He's getting better defensively. He's going to be a hell of a player because he's smart, he works, and he cares. And so I thought he did a great job. Kyle Arns has been playing a little better. He's the one guy that can shoot the ball. So if we can get Miles some minutes with him, and, that was good. But you're right, we had a lot of role players. I mean, Cassius, did a lot of great things. He struggled defensively, but he has 9 assists and 3 turnovers. So, we're still growing in that area, but it's getting better. And I think the guys knew that we had a grinded-out game. And, in the locker room, I think they felt almost good about that. I mean, that's the way it's going to be for us. We're not gorgeous. We're just Valentine's. Nobody probably got any cards on our team. We're not the darlings of Valentine's Day. We're just the grinders.
Tom, back to Elvin Ellis. He talked about wanting to stay here and not transfer and earn his playing time. You think about the game he had today and Minnesota, how thankful are you that he chose to stay and grind it out, so to speak?
Hey, there were times, that I questioned Elvin Ellis, and what I thought he did for 2 years was not what you need to do to play at this level. Last year he started getting a little better, and this year, he had the one thing that this team doesn't have a lot of. He's tough. He's a tough kid, and he started making shots. But believe it or not, he's been really good defensively the last 3 games, and. So I'm happy for Elvin. Anytime a kid goes through tough times, and this day and age when everybody transfers, quits their job, get a new job, change here, change there, go to 3 high schools, 4 AU teams, all the things. He did. He gutted it out. And you know what? It might end up being a heck of a deal for him and a great way to go out as a senior. So my hat off to Elvin. I'm happy for him, proud of him, and excited because hopefully it'll teach him life lessons that you don't just get to leave places. You got to, sooner or later, you got to look in the mirror and say, am I doing my job? And I think he's done that, and he's worked a lot harder, and good things are happening.
Tom, you talked about wanting to get out and push the pace and run a lot, 20-4 on the break. Did you feel like you wore them down with that tempo?
Well, a couple things that happened tonight, Points off turnovers were 20-19. Usually when we're up, in turnovers, that kills us. Second chance points 12-8. Fast break points 20-4. But probably the best stat of all, and that's what you gotta love about this team. 20 assists on 25 baskets. Very unselfish play. Very, Nick missed a couple of kickouts, but other than that, guys are looking for one another probably too much sometimes, but. Yeah, I was pleased how we ran. I was pleased, that pass Cassius through to Miles was an incredible play. And there's going to be a lot more of them if we can just get a little more consistent, a little less turnovers. You're going to hear that until hopefully March.
Mentioning the turnovers, I know that you've addressed them, but are some of these turnovers, specifically, we look at Cassius, he's throwing them, baseline, nobody's there. A couple of Miles, goes up, maybe trying to make a cross, pass to the corner when maybe he didn't have to. Is it guys trying to do too much, or is it just careless?
Well, some of them are those freshmen trying to do too much. Sometimes guys try to do too much because other guys aren't doing their job. Once in a while, guys aren't rolling or in the position they need to be in. And once in a while, be honest with you, defenses are pretty good. And we said about, Thad's defense, they get their hands on a lot of balls. We warned Miles that if you're driving, there's going to be guys slapping at it. And they did a good job of that. So sometimes the credit goes to the other team, too. And I thought that, Ohio State, we punched them 3 times, and they answered the bell all three, give them credit on this on the road too. God, you guys must like Twitter so much. You didn't even let me enjoy this moment of ripping Twitter. I am disappointed.